It is with great excitement that we get to introduce you to Lisa Williams on the PowerUp with Manal podcast. Lisa is the founder and CEO of Simply Digital. As the unstoppable force behind it, Simply Digital, she's a dynamic entrepreneur with so much soul, and I cannot wait for you to hear her journey. She is a transformative figure who has harnessed the power of the mind to overcome obstacles and achieve her goals. Her personal journey towards mental transformation is an inspiring one, and her willingness to share her experiences is a testament to her commitment towards helping others achieve their own transformation. By embracing a mindset of growth and resilience, Lisa has been able to reach heights that may not have been possible otherwise. Through all her multimedia presence that includes her podcast, courses, and newsletters, she's become a trusted source of practical and actionable advice for entrepreneurs and businesses alike. So don't miss out on all her incredible insights and expertise. Get ready to learn from the best, be inspired, and unleash your full potential. Join us now to embark on an extraordinary journey through this captivating interview. Lisa, thank you so much for being on the PowerUp with Manal podcast. When we first connected, there was so much about you that I couldn't put my finger on. And then I got to know you and your success out of resiliency, the way you've sort of approached life, your evolution as a person. I think it gave me goosebumps and maybe also resonated a little bit. Your story is inspirational. You are somebody I today look up to. And I'm like, how can I get there with my ventures, right? Because I'm still in the corporate world. So I'd love for our audience to get to know who Lisa is. If you could share a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. My gosh, I'm so excited to be here. So I'm in year 3 of completely being on my own, being an entrepreneur.
Wow.
But I started my business 5 years ago, and it kind of evolved as a side hustle, turned into full-blown entrepreneurship. And, people always ask, how did you get started? And then, when you're looking at people and you're mentoring them or coaching them or whatever, I always recommend, unless you have an unlimited supply of resources or somebody's funding you or something, if you could start with a side hustle, then I would recommend starting with a side hustle and build your side hustle to where it can sustain you. And so what happened to me is I was building the side hustle and I had a full-time job. So you feel like you have this security, but really you don't, because then COVID hit. Right. And in the middle of the pandemic, I got laid off from my job. And so rather than trying to look for a new job, I decided to dive 100% into my side hustle turned business. So now I run It's Simply Digital. It's a digital marketing agency, and we work with small businesses and entrepreneurs, and we do a done-for-you package for all their marketing.
Wow. So this wasn't easy, though.
Oh my gosh, no. No.
So so here's a question for you. You've gone through some hard times, right? Mm-hmm. As you have gone through times that were difficult for you, how did you see forward? Because I think what happens is a lot of individuals face hardships. Mm-hmm. And then it's human nature, right? We get taken over by emotions. We sort of shut down ourselves. We lose ourselves. We don't pursue our passions. We get maybe a little insecure that can we not do it? What did you do to persevere through all that?
Okay, first let me say that insecurity, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, they all exist. They all exist. Fear exists in everyone, even successful people who you think, oh, they have a really great career, they have a really great life, they have a really great family balance. You still have limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome.
How do you basically, and you said this very well, it's not that you overcame them, it's how do you push through with all of them, right?
Yeah, right.
100%.
And I think one of the things for my personality is I have drive and determination. And maybe that came from my upbringing. I grew up in a home where my parents were divorced when I was 15. My mom didn't really have a lot of control over 3 girls who she was raising as teenagers. And I would look at her, and she had a high school education, and I'm not knocking a high school education because I think you could pursue endless passions with having a high school. But at the time when I was growing up, I was like, I'm going to get a college degree. I'm not going to live this life that my mom is living, where I'm divorced with 3 girls with trying to put food on the table and, like trying to make ends meet. And so I think living in that life, and I mean, there were times where we had peanut butter and jelly and tuna fish sandwiches, and that was about it in our, maybe mac and cheese that was like 49 cents in the box or something. So I think living in that environment and seeing firsthand what it was like and what the challenges my mom went through, it was like, this is not how I'm going to live. I'm not going to do this. And so, it didn't come easy, but I think that there's that drive, that determination, that resiliency of always looking back and going, I could do this. I don't know how, but I will figure it out. Yeah. So I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah. That's the thing that, I say this now quite a bit, and maybe I'm giving myself a pep talk when I'm saying this, but I'm like, you know what? There are certain cards you're dealt at certain times in your life. And how do you play them?
Right.
How do you play those cards? Because sometimes, and I had another guest on the podcast, and he was saying, there's a saying in the Navy that says it sucks to suck sometimes. And how do you life, right?
Right.
How does that?
Right? Yeah. How do you get out of the suck?
How do you get out of the suck?
Right.
That's the quote. How do you get out of the suck?
How do you?
Yeah. Because it is not easy, but we have such a short time span in life.
Right.
And do we want to stay sort of stuck for that long? We're human. It's going to happen. But how do we sort of evolve and get out of that? I think that's very critical, and maybe having the right group around you, having support systems, understanding yourself, focusing on yourself, healing. Right. These are things that I think we did take for granted, maybe as leaders too.
Well, and so I think a couple of things. One is we are taught to mask our emotions in this world.
Yes.
We're taught to drug it away, drink it away, gamble it away, shop it away, whatever that looks like.
Right.
And there's all kinds of paths to mask your emotions. And so I think I had to learn to sit in my emotions and feel it, because I think I was really good at being emotionless for a long time.
Preach, sister, preach. Yes.
And so I think understanding, feeling it, really feeling it, going ahead and crying the ugly cry or being angry. It doesn't mean you have to be angry at a person and that you have to vocalize how you're feeling towards a person, because you own your feelings. We own our feelings. Nobody can make me mad, hurt, angry, upset.
Right.
I am the one that is feeling that.
Right.
And so that's another thing I think we need to understand is I can't sit here and say, Manal, you hurt my feelings. You made me sad. You made me angry. No, that's on me.
Right.
You might have said something that I'm offended by or hurt by, and I internalize that.
Right.
So I think we have to understand, you have to sit in your emotions and allow them and feel them, however long that takes.
Yes.
And then what do I want to do to move forward? And I don't ever look back with regret, because I look at everything as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to get better.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of, theologies and philosophies and Buddhism, not living your life, not holding grudges and not looking back and not having resentment is sort of the key to building your future, right? Not easy to do.
Not easy
to do. I love the way you said that we choose to react to how we are feeling, right? And that's important. Not feeling is something that a lot of overachievers are good at.
Definitely.
and what's interesting is we also divert. So a lot of people who are driven, and myself, I'm raising my hand, we throw ourselves into work, extra work, that causes avoidance of feelings, right? But you're succeeding,
right?
And so
then you just keep feeding that.
You just keep feeding that, and I completely hear you.
Yeah.
So how does this now relate to you as a founder, a CEO, leading teams, driving companies? What are some of the characteristics that makes you now great at business and relationships?
So this did not come easy, but it came through experience. But one of the things that if I ever had a team, which I do, I wanted to make sure that I appreciated them and empowered them all the time. We might have disagreements. We might push back on each other. We might not always like what the other person says or suggests, but I always want to make sure that I appreciate them and give them full creative freedom to design, create, and live their life however they want to live it. So that is one thing, because I don't want anyone telling me what to do. So I don't want to tell other people what to do. I want to say, these are the projects. This is the work. Let's figure out how we get this done.
Right.
And we all divide and conquer. So that is one thing. The other thing is having that mindset of, okay, not taking, if a client leaves us, if a client doesn't sign on with us, if a client misses a payment, whatever that happens in the work world, because it all happens, not taking it personally.
Oh my gosh, yes. That is so important.
Right. And separating your business from yourself.
Right.
They are not attacking you.
Exactly.
They are not attacking you personally. There's so many reasons why clients change or do things different. And so, what is it?
Right.
Why? So not taking it personal.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And that's not just having your own business.
No.
That's just in business general.
In general.
I have seen individuals spend so much time on the things that they cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
Why a process is a certain way. Why do we have to go through this committee to do X, Y, and Z?
Right.
Why? And I'm like, we have just spent so much precious energy on the why, instead of using that energy for solutioning and the things that we can control and how we can optimize, right? It's energy almost like wasted, right?
So true. And we do that in our personal life and in our professional life. We spend energy on things that are not going to move us forward.
Yes.
And that really don't matter in the long run.
It's so much easier to do in business, though.
It
so
is.
much easier than personal.
It is. And so
because we got feelings,
Well, we do. And I think one of the things that I'm able to do is really separate my emotions when it comes to business. Not always.
Right.
But one of the things that I like to tell my team is we are going to offload them with grace, just like we onloaded, offboard them with grace, just like we onboarded them.
I like that.
We are going to give them everything they ask for and more, because we're going to part ways very professionally, because if we ever want anything from them or they ever want anything from us, then we have that opportunity to continue that relationship.
Right.
So we're going to offboard them just like we onboarded them.
Line.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
You should.
It's such an amazing, that's such a good line.
Yeah.
And maybe we should use that in our personal life too.
Maybe we should.
As you bring somebody on in your life,
you should.
Go the same way. Same grace.
Yeah. So I think, taking all of these nuggets from my personal life and my personal growth allowed me to bring them into my business and grow my business.
Right.
And understand. The other thing is I am super, super deep into mindset and meditation.
Same.
And having a growth mindset and knowing that I have control of whatever I want to create in my life by my thoughts. And I truly, truly believe that. And so how can I learn to think different?
Right? Because the famous saying, you are what you eat, is actually not the saying. It derived from you are what you
think you
are. Your thoughts.
You are.
And it took me a long time to learn that. I feel like, I wish it was something that was taught from a mindset perspective when we were in our youth,
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, because then you go through life in this sink or swim mentality.
Right.
And then you get to a point where you're enlightened.
Right.
As if you continuously evolve, right?
Yeah.
Grow. But it's like, oh my gosh, if I took these values with me and put them when I was in my early 20s, teens, right?
Yeah.
It's just, that's something that I wish we had more of. And now there are, of course, avenues for it. And I'm trying to build an academy that's focused on it for the youth. But, that is something that society would just look very different.
So, and this is where I go, why don't we teach this? And I'm not against religion or formal education or any of that stuff, but why isn't this the basis of everything that we learn in our life? Instead of the fear, because we all grow up with fear, we're taught that if you don't get the right grades, if you don't make the right amount of money, if you don't live in the right house or drive the right car or wear the right clothes, why is that what we're taught? And social media just exacerbates that. Yeah. But why is that what we're taught versus you have the power and the control to think anything you want and create anything you want? I mean, it wasn't until I was in my 40s and so really started diving into spirituality that I started learning more about how I could control things with my thoughts.
Yes.
And it's so powerful.
It's so powerful. I agree 100%. So much so that we as a society, that's why so many people stay on, I would say, the hamster wheel, right? Mm-hmm. Because we fear societal judgment. Mm-hmm. We fear that we may not fit in. I remember somebody one time was very adamant about bring your whole self to work. Mm-hmm. Very adamant about it. And I was like, okay, let me ask you 2 questions. I was like, A, if you are ready to bring your whole self to work, which I'm a proponent of, but if you are ready to bring your whole self to work, you also have to be ready and accept that there will be certain outcomes. Yeah. Because unfortunately, society as a whole is not evolved. No. And if you have that fear, mm-hmm. if you have that fear of judgment, if you have that fear of, maybe losing your job or whatnot, I was like, then you can't.
No, you can't.
And people get upset when I say that. But I'm like, it's cliche to say bring your whole self to work. No, because there is.
You're going to share things with your friends and family that you're never going to share in a professional setting. And why? Why do we have to separate that? Why can't we bring our whole selves to work? And one of the things that
we are not taught mindset mastery.
No, we are not. And we have fears, we have judgment, insecurities, FOMO.
FOMO.
Yeah, I mean, we have it all, right?
Me too.
We have it all. And so why, one of the things that I'm a huge believer in is creating a life by design and living a life by intention, not convention.
Thank you for that.
And
yes,
it doesn't always work that way.
It doesn't, but
that is my
purposeful.
Every day.
Yes, every day. Being purposeful and reminding yourself and bringing yourself back to sort of that balance or that core value you're holding.
And one of the things, and I have stickers, little sticky notes on my walls and stuff, is who am I spending my time with and why? What am I putting inside my body and why? What am I doing with my body as far as exercising or movement and why? And where does my energy go and why? And it's just a reminder to be intentional with my time, with my spirit, with my body, with everything.
Just
holistically. Yeah.
So if we pivot a little bit to your company.
Yeah.
Because I think you are doing amazing things. Entering new markets.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your company and what differentiates you out there from a marketing realm. And it's a hard time right now. We're in a super digital, fast-paced environment, mm-hmm. and infiltrating to the right target audience, distributing to the right channels has become harder.
It's definitely challenging, for sure. So here's one of the things that I feel like we are really good at is a lot of people who get into business, They get into business to focus on whatever their business is, whatever their service or their product is. And then they all of a sudden have to figure out how to market that. And marketing is complicated. Mm-hmm. And so our goal is to simplify that. And one of the ways that we simplify it is we do it for you. So we take it all off of your plate and we say, we're going to help build your tone, your voice, your personal brand, your business brand. We're going to put you out into the digital world. We're going to create the content for you that sounds like you, looks like you, acts like you, speaks like you. And we're going to drive traffic back to your website, back to a podcast, back to, whatever it is that we're driving traffic to. And so our goal is to create that content that really is you. It embodies you. Yeah. And so one of the things that I feel like we are really good at also is brand archetypes. Just like we all have, personalities and characteristics, brands have archetypes. Okay. And we bring our personality to our brand. Do we want them to be very professional and very stoic? Or do we want them to be fun and outlandish or whatever? And so our brand is the girl next door brand or the guy next door brand or your pal. And so when I talk to potential clients and or clients, they always say, I feel like we could go have coffee together. I feel like we could be friends. And that is what we want to bring. We want to bring transparency. We want to bring connection. We want to bring friendliness. We want everybody to know, hey, we are here for you, to serve you and get you where you need to go.
So you feel like that also probably untaps a deeper understanding of your client, because now you're understanding their desires, what their wants are, their dreams, their passions, the why behind the company.
Yes.
So I feel like there's less back and forth with what the vision of their output should be, right?
Right. And so one of the things that we do when we bring a client on, when we onboard them, is we dive deep into their target audience, their tone, their voice, and what is it that drove them to be in business? Why are they in business in the first place? Yeah. And it's not even like, if you really dive deep into marketing, and I use this example.
I don't know marketing now on social media. I'm like lost.
No, I love it. But I've used this example before in the past. You hire a landscaper, okay? So you really don't want a beautiful lawn. That is not your why.
Right.
Your why might be, your why might be, I want to spend more time with my family. Yeah. And so that's my why. Your why might be, I want to be the best looking status. I want to have the best looking lawn on the block.
Yeah.
That might be your why. Your why might be you are incapable physically of mowing or taking care of your lawn. So there's that deeper level of, it's not just about hiring a landscaper to give you this service. It's why did you hire that landscaper?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with hiring a digital marketing agency. It's sure, you could do it yourself. A business could do it themselves. They could probably hire internally. But what they don't get is we have a team of professionals that's working for you. And that is what we do really well every single day. So what is it that they want? Time and freedom.
Wow.
That's what they want.
I also love that you have so much focus on community and education. So you have a podcast.
Yes.
What's the name of your podcast?
It's Simply Life.
It's Simply Life.
Yes.
And your podcast focuses on a lot of this stuff and content and sort of drives people to really understand what their business needs and their marketing needs and so forth.
Right. And so I kind of mix in a little bit of life and a little bit of business.
But I think that's what we're missing.
Right.
Before, it was such a big separation of life and business.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality,
you're everything.
It's
one life.
It's one.
Yeah. You're a whole person. So I try to incorporate mindset, motivation, thought process into the marketing piece of it. And there's a lot of psychology behind marketing as well. And so understanding your market and understanding how buyers buy and behaviors. And that's what I just explained to you about the whole landscaping is what is the really deep root of what you want. And most of us, there's very few things that we want. Love, status, health are most of the three things that we want.
Yeah.
Time, freedom. So how do you, as a business or a product or a service, get to one of those core, what is it that so somebody who wants status might buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or that might be something super important to them. So it's what do you really want? And that's what you drive. And how do you, yeah.
How is it, being in such a world now as a business, being out there, now there's a lot of competition, different type of competition now, right? Because it's almost like you could have the best product,
right?
But if you are not set up the right way from a digital or social perspective, it's almost like you don't exist.
It's like you either have to be relevant or you're irrelevant. Yes. And so
I think that's hard for some maybe the generation to understand.
It is hard because
you could have a great product.
Yes, and you could, and people will tell you it's a great product.
Right.
But if you don't know how to market it the right way, say the right things, understand your audience in the right way,
and get yourself in the right places to have visibility.
Yes.
Because it's not the same anymore.
No, it's about being at the right place at the right time with the right audience and with the right message. Right. So how do you do that? And that's where you have to understand like the why behind the why as far as how they got in business, their target audience. Where does their audience hang out? Does their audience hang out at a local coffee shop and they might read, blogs on a phone? Does their audience hang out in a bookstore? Does their audience read, like a Forbes magazine? Like where does their audience hang out?
Or are they only on TikTok?
Yeah. So
where financial advisors on TikTok now?
I see marketing reps on, it's everybody. And so it's like, where does your audience hang out? And then also, you mentioned community. So I think the future of marketing, where we are heading and what we are desiring is we want curation and we want community. We're in this post-COVID world and we crave community. 100%. We crave connection. We crave that conversation and
the engagement, the interconnectivity.
Yes. So how do you create a community for your business and invite your audience into that community? And then the other part of that, Manal, is curation. We have information coming at us at lightning speed. We cannot keep up. We can't. You and I will never, ever, nobody will ever be able to keep up. It's impossible. Our brains just can't decipher that much information. And so what is it that you want to know about? And what is it that you want to know more about? And so how can we as products, services, businesses curate that information to disseminate it to our target audience where you are becoming the thought leader, you are the authority, you're the one that they're looking to the go-to source to A, create community, and B, curate this information for them.
That's such good advice.
Yeah.
Such good advice. And I do think that in today's world, like a lot of businesses or entrepreneurs or startups or SMBs feel like they have to do it all.
Because there's all this noise out there that says, if you don't wake up at 5 a.m. and do your meditation and 30,000 push-ups and walk 6 miles and drink 5 gallons of water and take 9 million supplements and read and focus and watch the birds fly by, and
you're not going to be successful.
Or if you're not putting content out every single day, 3 times a day, and it's not there's so much coming at us that we feel like, oh, we got to shift here and we got to shift here and we've got to do this. You have to do, this is why we simplify everything. You have to do what works, and you have to do what works for your audience.
Simply digital.
It's simply digital. Yes. Yeah.
That's your why.
That's my why. Because when I was way back in the day, when I was looking at social media, digital marketing, how to market myself, how to get my name out there, everything seemed complicated. And what I just explained, if you're not doing this, then you're not going to be successful. And if you're not doing this, then you're not going to be successful. And your content has to be short and punchy and this and that. Yeah. And so it's just eliminating all the noise and figuring out the basics and simplifying it and what works for you.
Yeah.
And I will tell you all the things that we did wrong. I went to market without a strategy. I don't recommend that to anybody ever.
Don't wing it?
No. But you have to understand, I lost my job in COVID, and I was like, screw it. I'm going to wing it. Yeah. And so here we are, almost 3 years later, really diving deep into our strategy and really honing in on our business plan and our marketing plan and things that we never did before.
It provides so much more clarity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can provide the right direction for your company.
And my team and myself.
Yourself, exactly. And everybody's sort of moving. Maybe it's not always perfect, but at least you're moving towards the same goals.
Right.
Before you find out it's too late. And we're not all on the same page, right? Which is important.
And there were so many things I did wrong. Like, I didn't even have an agreement for my clients to sign when we first brought clients on. Yeah. I brought on the wrong type of clients because I didn't have an agreement and there were no boundaries. It was like, can you revise this for the 19th time? And so by the 19th time, you're now in the hole, however many hours and dollars that you spent.
You're churning and you're just so much waste.
That's waste. Right? It's waste of time and energy and effort.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just wasted so much time and precious energy putting this out there. And now they want me to change these little three or four things. And so understanding, okay, you get X number of revisions and you get this is the only services we provide. I mean, I had clients treating me like a VA. And I'm like, no, I'm not a VA. I'm a digital marketing agency. And so figuring out how to differentiate myself and really put those boundaries and those walls up and say, no, these are the services we offer. If you don't like the services that we offer, it's okay. We're not your company.
It almost feel like if a client comes when you're first starting, you have to take on everybody.
Yeah,
because these are clients. Like,
I need the money and I've got to take them on and I need the experience.
But then you're derailing from your core business.
Exactly.
Then creates confusion and then you're all over the place and it's hard to expand and grow and you're probably not going to have the ROI you're looking for.
And do that without a strategy too.
Yeah. And without a strategy.
Yeah.
One of the worst lines I hate from like the 90s and like the early 2000s is the whole fake it till you make it.
No.
Oh my God, I hate that. I really dislike that line. I dislike it so much.
No, like, then you're not bringing your true authentic self.
You're not. But that was
like the thing. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Don't bring yourself.
Yeah. Be happy until you really are happy. No, that's where we like mask our emotions and then we like dive into addictions and substance and look for alternative ways to make ourselves feel good.
Yeah. It's so dangerous. So what's next for Simply Digital?
So we were blessed with the opportunity a couple of years ago to bring on a couple of clients in the cannabis industry.
Nice.
And that was always like, I kept saying they were my outlier. Like they're like, this is really my focus, but
it's such an expanding,
hugely expanding.
And there's a big need.
Huge need. And so what we decided to do was because the cannabis industry there's so many rules and regulations as far as digital marketing and the digital world and what you could put on social media and what you could say and how you could say it and all of that stuff. We decided to separate It's Simply Digital and we are creating a whole new brand called the Toke Agency. Okay. We're super excited about that. And really, we want it to be called Toke. So like, the Ohio State, we're going to be called the Toke Agency, but it's going to be called Toke.
Okay. And does Toke have some significance?
Well, it's like a groovy throwback kind of word that's like a hippie.
Yes, goes with the
yes. And I think one of the things that is my personality...
resonating with the industry.
Exactly. And my personality, like, I love to wear bell-bottom jeans and kind of like, I always feel like I'm a free spirit and just, live life and really just...
Do you remember when your free spirit had to be caged?
Yes. Well, okay, how's this? like I don't know about you, but girls are to be seen and not heard, and boys don't cry, and you're squishing and you're squashing, and you're limiting that person that really needs to shine, or you can't wear those clothes, or that's not appropriate, or whatever. I mean, I like to wear what I like to wear, and I don't really care what people think or what society.
I let you in this zone that you're in now.
Yeah, and
I love it.
And I love to travel
because we fear it.
We fear it. And don't get me wrong, if it creeps up on me all the time,
100%.
but
I'm trying to break. I'm just
constantly living there.
Yeah, because I realized the last almost 2 decades of my life, maybe more, I've been who others have wanted me to be.
Of course, we all are.
Right?
We all are.
When are you going to be you?
Yes.
And when are you going to be okay being you?
And not care what other people think.
That's the key. And that doesn't mean be rude.
No.
That doesn't mean, there's etiquette in society, there's diplomacy. Sure. It's okay to have differing ideals and ideas and feelings. That's okay.
And why is it that you could have one set of... Here's the thing. We all come to where we are today with experiences and beliefs.
Right.
However we grew up, the impact of coaches, teachers, parents, siblings, friends, society, culture, religion, everything. And so we have these beliefs, and then whatever our experiences are. And so that's what forms us, and that's what makes us. And so no two people are going to agree on one thing or another. So why can't we come to this understanding and know you are never going to believe what I believe. I am never going to believe what you believe, because we didn't grow up in the same, and even brothers and sisters and siblings and all of that stuff, they have different experiences because they go different ways. Right. And so we're never going to come to this commonality where and it would be a boring world where everybody believes and thinks the same. So why can't we just accept and appreciate each other for what it is that you believe in and how it's different and more beautiful? It makes this beautiful world and it's different from what I believe in.
You know what's interesting is, there's a fear of that. And the fear, I know. And it's interesting because the fear shows in parents when their kids, they're directing them to be in homogeneous environments.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this can stem many ways.
Right.
Whether it's a certain religious group or it's a certain culture or ethnicity or
whatever.
Like that. Yeah. And you sort of drive your children to have friends in that sort of society. Now they grow up in that homogeneous environment.
Yes.
And it's almost like you look out and the diversity of of individuality almost doesn't exist, because now you're trying to fit in this circle that you think you need to be like, right?
Right. And then that stems from, all of us not being individuals and fearing what other people think or believe.
Yes.
And it really is none of our business what other people think about us. Right. It's not our business.
It's a hard place
to get to. Hard place. And, it's a daily struggle with me, with everybody. I mean, you have to be this enlightened soul to not live there. But so we're separating the brands, and we're gonna go start.
We get
simple topics. Yes, and we're gonna go after cannabis dispensaries and grow the Toke agency through bringing on cannabis dispensaries.
I love this.
So fun.
It's so fun,
and it's vibrant and groovy and funky and. The whole theme and tone and everything is completely separate from It's Simply Digital, where it's a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more clean, a little bit more simple.
On target audience.
Yeah.
You know your audience.
Yes.
Right?
And we know the cannabis world.
And you have your strategy based on your different audience distribution channels and sets.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
You're representing your own company.
Yes, exactly.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
That is really cool to hear. That you started off as a side hustle, you grew your company during hard times, COVID and other, life situations.
Right.
And now you're splitting off and growing and expanding and hitting a whole new industry.
Yeah.
That is
How fun. Yeah.
You know what? We're gonna cheer. Let's cheers.
All right.
It's H2O, by the way. It's water.
Water.
Cheersing.
How fun.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Yes.
And life can be everybody's journey. Everybody's not an entrepreneur also.
And I don't prescribe that everybody, I mean, we need people who are employees who aren't entrepreneurs, because how would the world function if you didn't? And not everybody is designed or built to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, and people have different life situations.
Yes, and that's okay.
Journeys, and it's all okay.
It's all okay.
It's almost like we need to learn to embrace the journey we're on. And if we want a different journey, then it's just like anything. Build your strategy, your life strategy,
and go there
to figure out how to pivot out of where you are, right?
You know, Manal, last year I traveled a bunch. I was on the road for like 8 solid months in different cities and towns and
countries,
and just loved living a digital nomad life. And I went to Maui. I was in Maui for a good 2.5 months. And there's a famous road in Maui called the Road to Hana. And it's the most beautiful road I've ever been on. It is basically the rim of Maui that overlooks the Pacific Ocean with cliffs and waterfalls and canyons and just lush green, vibrant colors. And it is just truly a beautiful road. It takes about 5 hours. It's twisty and turns and curvy, and sometimes there's the oncoming traffic has to stop for you to go, and you're in the middle of this curve and there's a cliff that's right there. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. And I did that road one of the first weekends that I was in Maui, and it is like a metaphor for life, because it's called the Road to Hana. But when you get to Hana, you're like, what is it that I get to go see in Hana? There's nothing. It's just a little town.
Experience.
But it's the
whole journey.
And it's those twists and those turns and those curves and the stopping.
There's scary moments.
Exactly.
Right? Yes.
Exactly. So it's the complete metaphor for life. So the journey is the whole road. The destination was Hana. And yes, it's this cute little town, and you get to go walk on the beach, and they have black sand and all of that stuff. But I was like, there's really nothing spectacular about the end of the road.
Right.
What was spectacular was the journey. Yeah. And stopping and going in the waterfalls and overlooking the Pacific Ocean and like standing on these massive cliffs and looking down and experiencing that. Feeling it.
As you go through it.
Yeah.
We, like you said initially, we forget to feel like
Yes. And so I went on a Saturday afternoon or morning and just drove and spent my whole 5 hours driving and ended up driving back. And it was the most serene, peaceful, like calming. And I did it by myself. I wasn't with anybody, but I loved the experience. And that's how life should be. It's like you said, it's scary. And going on these cliffs, like you're like, that is the Pacific Ocean right down there. And I can drop, however many hundreds of feet or thousands of feet. So yeah, it was just spectacular.
I love this. I think that's actually a beautiful line for us to sort of end on as well. So how does one reach you?
So it's simplydigital.com is where my website is. I also hang out on LinkedIn. It's Lisa Williams. It's Simply Digital. We are on Facebook and Instagram at It's Simply Digital. And then the same thing, thetokeagency.com. And that's coming out soon.
Wow. Lisa, thank you so much for life, for business, for vision, and just generally reminding us that life is a journey. And maybe today we need to all leave listening to this, because we're listening at different times, remembering that time is of essence. And
right.
We should learn to re-engage our community, our connectivity, our engagement, and our feelings.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
I'm so happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. On each episode, we will continue to bring on successful, dynamic individuals to dig deep and share stories that will inspire you, to power up your life. This show is packed with unrivaled storytelling and no reservation advice. Tune in now by searching Power Up with Manal wherever podcasts are found. Please show us just a little bit of love by leaving a review and hitting that subscribe button. This helps our small production get reach and voices heard globally. Let's power up together, baby.